To continue with the significance of the Declaration of Independence, when it begins explaining the reasons. Okay, note, he has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good, he meaning King George. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended he has utterly neglected to attend to them. Moving down, he has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose, obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has kept us among us in times of peace, standing armies, without the consent of our legislatures. This was a time when any soldier could walk into any house, and you would have to, as a member of the subject of the British Empire, have to allow him to sleep there, and he could do whatever he wanted. It was a quartering act. He has effected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to the acts of pretended legislation, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for depriving us, in many cases, of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses. It goes on, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring in upon the inhabitants of the frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. This obviously was written at that time. It goes on, and then it explains, in every stage of these oppressions we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. All important and should be read and reread over. Any book can be acquired in the library or at your local bookstore for probably under $10.